Suicide Squad does set up all these other characters. Where to next? Do we want a Suicide Squad sequel? Can these characters, do we want to see them maybe just show up in other people's movies? What do you think, Terry?
Definitely not a sequel. Again, I think they all should have died. This movie had...
Aww.
Well, okay.
Only one person on the Suicide Squad died. Like, even the Dirty Dozen more people bought it.
Okay, I'll take that back. I think this movie had... There are about 6 characters off the top of my head that I think you could take out of this movie, and the movie is better for it. That I get on paper what they did technically in the plot, but if you take them out, the plot is a lot smoother. Like everyone from Griggs to the Joker, and I think that is a big problem within the Suicide Squad itself. Like they hyped all these characters, like Slipknot and Captain Boomerang and even Killer Croc, and they just added nothing. Again, I understand they did X, Y, and Z in the story, but they didn't actually add anything to it. I think this movie had about time for...
The same character could have done that action.
Exactly.
Help them with the bomb
I think this movie has time for 3 or 4 characters, and that's Deadshot. I guess, yeah, 3 or 4. Like Deadshot, Harley, Amanda Waller, and like Rick Flag. I guess like maybe like putting the other. Anyway,
how that guy made it alive to the end of the movie, I don't know.
I don't want to see a sequel because I came out of this. I started this movie having some level of interest. About halfway through, didn't care about the villains, didn't care about the heroes, didn't care about any characters, and ended really not caring about what comes next. But I do think that you could take some of these characters and have them appear in other movies, have Amanda Waller and Rick Flag pop up in another movie where they need to help, sort of like Nick Fury, and have the Joker appear in a Batman movie, have Harley pop up.
I feel like Deadshot could show up in a solo Batman movie.
See, I think Deadshot is the character that works best in this movie, but doesn't have anything that attaches him really to any other characters. I get that Batman was the one who took him in, but I just think he is the one who works best in this movie and maybe shouldn't continue on past it. Yeah. Joshua?
I don't know. I actually would like to see a sequel just because I want to see a different director, different writer. I pretty much want a
redo.
Even though it's a sequel, I want everything new from the ground up for the most part.
So you want basically like an Incredible Hulk to this one's Hulk?
Yes. Okay. I think that would be good because I feel like there's still potential in the concept, which is so good in the comic books. And like in the comic book, they would constantly shake up and refresh the team and like reboot it with new characters, bring back old characters. So I feel like they can benefit from doing that. Like we just get a new Suicide Squad. Maybe keep some core members, keep Deadshot. Amanda Waller still has to be there. I thought she was actually the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
Viola Davis is fine.
Just destroyed it in that role.
She did the best with her material, though why did she kill all those guys?
Oh, it's plausible deniability for that giant thing in the sky. The cat's out of the bag, Amanda.
But and I feel like with this movie, the big thing it missed out on, and I read, I'm not 100% sure if this is true, that David Ayer wrote the script in 6 weeks. No. Spend some time on this next one and get to the real core of Suicide Squad. And what makes those stories interesting is like the many dynamics playing around them, and sort of the purpose of the squad isn't to go take out something like the Enchantress. Not really, even though they have done supernatural threats in the comics. But you need to do something, just the core Suicide Squad story, which is like, in the comics, they would be sent on missions to go take out other superpowered terrorists in like other countries where the Justice League types couldn't touch, So you send them in on a Black Ops mission, and it's more grounded. There are people with crazy powers. That's a surprise when you get there, like, oh crap, I didn't know this person could do that. But it's not as big. It doesn't need to be a world-ending threat. Make it like a political thriller of this like crack team, and they have to be unlikable, and there have to be varying degrees of villains and such, and they have to be put in line by Amanda Waller and by Rick Flag. And then also the comic had a hero who was on the team, had Bronze Tiger. And some others down the line, but he was great to also, because he was fighting alongside them, had powers like they did, but was there to also keep them in check.
So I feel like there's all these different. In this movie?
I thought it was, but she didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. Then they like cut to her and she's like bawling.
Well, they're also like, or just like, she has a soul sword. Oh, well, that happened.
Yeah,
like,
I thought that was going to come into, I guess Harley did use it at the end, but I thought it was going to be more important because like, oh, it's a magical weapon against a magical threat, and it wasn't that important at the end. So so I feel like there is potential to take the concept and try again.
Yeah, I think that there are at least 4 characters in here that, while tarnished, they're not completely ruined. Unless this movie just opens huge and plummets, which I think it will. But Harley, still workable, but they really need a better story for her
She
next
needs a
time.
deep rehab.
Yeah. Joker, I think you can still do something with Leto's version of it. Deadshot and Amanda Waller. Now, that said, I don't want to see a sequel. I feel like it should have worked right the first time. And I feel like the DCEU now, this is, in my mind, it's 2 strikes. For a lot of you guys, it's 3 strikes. But they can't afford any more missteps. And I do wonder if this doesn't kind of pump the brakes on using these characters and other things like maybe they had planning. Like if Ben Affleck's Batman movie, maybe they don't use any of them and maybe they recast Joker again. I don't know. I think it all depends on financially how this movie does, because you can kind of soft reboot it that way.